Okay, so we are going to do Module 7 test review. So number 1. What is the best estimate of 7 and 7/12 minus 3 and 1/6? So remember, when we see that word estimate, we think of benchmark. So we're going to round to 0, half, or 1. So 7 and 7/12. So 7/12 is half of 12 is 6. So this should benchmark. So it's going to be 7, 7.5, or 8. Hopefully you got 7.5. Minus, and then 3 and 1/6. So looking at this 1/6 fraction, let me zoom in a little bit. This 1/6 fraction, it should benchmark to 0 because 1/6 is almost nothing. Okay? So then we just have 7 minus 3, which is 4.5. Okay? Number 2. Okay, Mina spent 6/5 hours drawing last week. She spent 2 1/4 of that time drawing on Sunday. Select all the equations that can be used to find the number of hours Mina spent drawing the rest of the week. Okay, so we have 6. So drawing the rest of the week. So this is her total for the week, and this is what she did on Sunday. Okay, so is that an add or subtract problem? Okay, hopefully you said subtract. Okay. So we have 6 and 5/6 minus that one. So B is the obvious one. Okay, there might be more. So if we're trying to find the difference of them, E also shows the difference, because if this H represents the other days of the week, it's a subtraction problem. C is kind of weird because it does show subtraction, but if you have 2, you can't take away something and get 6. So that one is kind of a nonsense one. And then we have these 2 addition ones. Well, this one's going to give us more than the total if we were to add them. So that one doesn't make sense. And then we have this one we have to decide, which would work because it is saying essentially Sunday plus the rest of the week would give us the whole week. So this one actually works, and that one's a little confusing. Okay, number 3. Again, pause, try the problem on your own, and then do it with me. Brian picked 6.5 cups of berry from his garden. He used 3 3/8 cup to make a fruit salad. If he needed 3 cups to make a pie, does he have enough to make a pie? So is this an add or subtract problem? And how do you know? Okay, that word enough, right? We are going to subtract these numbers to see if I have 3 cups left, so I could also make a pie. Okay, so I'm gonna write mine down here. Zoom. Okay, so you have the word problem in front of you. So I have 6.5 minus 3 3/8. Okay, so first thing I need to do is change them to common denominators. So 2 and 8, they both have 8 in common. So 2 times what gives you 8? 4. And then 1 times 4 is 4, minus 3 3/8. Okay, we can do this subtraction so we don't have to worry about borrowing. So 6 minus 3 is 3, and 4 minus 3 is 1/8. So can he make a pie? Yes. And then you just have to decide which one is your answer. 3 1/8. Okay. All right, number 4, try on your own, and then okay. A scientist mixed 1 9/10 liter of water and 4/5 liter of vinegar to make a solution for the experiment. How many liters of solution did the scientist make? Is this an add or subtract problem? Okay, hopefully picked add. To make this solution, he needs the water and the vinegar. So we have 1 9/10 plus 4/5. Okay, so first thing I notice is that our denominators are not alike, so I need to change them. So I'm looking at 10 and 5, and a number they have in common. Hopefully you pick 10. If you pick 20, you have to change both of them. I picked 10, so I only have to change one. 5 times what gives you 10? Okay. And 4 times 2 is 8. So now we can put these together. So we have 1 9/10 plus 8/10. So 9 plus 8 is 17. Okay. This isn't going to work because you're going to notice none of your answers are here. So we need to rename it. So we have 1 plus, we need to change this to a mixed number. So how many times does 10 go into 17? 1 time. How many do you have left over? 7. And now we can put it back together. 1 plus 1 is 2, and that fraction is 7/10. So what's the answer? C. Okay, number 5 says, what is the sum of 7/8 plus 1 3/4 and 5/6? Okay, so first thing we have to do is figure out, because all my denominators are different, what's a number they all three go into. So if you need to pause and look at your chart to figure that out. Okay. Hopefully you got 24. Okay, so 8 times what gives you 24? Okay, 7 times 3. Okay, 4 times what gives you 24? Okay, and what is 3 times 6? Okay, and the last one, 6 plus what gives you 24? And 5 times 4 is 20. Okay, we got a lot of big numbers here, so I know I'm going to have to regroup. So I'm just going to put this one over here, right here, this one, because I know I'm going to have to change it. Okay, so 1 plus 21 plus 18 is 39, plus 20 is 59. Okay. So then I have 1 plus, how many times does 24 go into 59? Well, 24 plus 24 is 48. So that's 2 times. And if I'm at 48 and I need to get to 59, so 59 minus 48 is 11. Okay, and then I just put these back together. So we have 3 and 11 24ths. Okay. Also looking at all the other answers, it's actually the only one that has the right denominator. Okay, Okay, pause it, try number 6 by yourself, and then come back and do it with me. Okay, the table shows the weight of different packages of meat at the store. Okay, Jimmy needs about 5 pounds of meat to make hamburgers for a party. Which 2 packages should he try? Okay, so we're just estimating essentially. So A and D. Okay, I'm gonna just benchmark all of these just to start to make it easier on myself. So A and D, so A, 8/9. So remember our benchmark 0, half, and 1. I would say 8/9 would benchmark to 1 because it's almost there. So 1 plus 1 is 2. Same thing, 2 and 5/6. I would say 5/6 is gonna benchmark to the next hole up. So this one's gonna be 3. Okay, 2 and 3/5. I would say benchmarks to 2.5 or 3, but I really think it's that. Okay, and then D, we have 7/8, and I would say that rounds up, so this would also equal about 2. So if I did A and D, that's 2 plus 2. Nope, remember we're trying to get to 5. B and C, maybe it's closer to 6. I'm going to just put a little line here. That might be our best answer. Let's check the other one. C and A. Okay. Yes, because, I mean, you have 2 and 3-ish, but I still think that's more like 2.5. Okay, and the last one, D and B. I would go with D. D's the best of the answers. If it was like multiple choices, I would say B, C, and D would be reasonable, but D is definitely the best one out of all 4. Okay, to the back side, number 7, try them on your own first and then come back and do them with me. Okay, this one, no word problems, just basic math. Okay, so add and subtract. Well, we can't subtract because the denominators are not the same. So look at the chart, look in your brain, write it out. Okay, figure out what number they have in common. Okay, hopefully you found the number 21. Okay, so 7 times what gives you 21? Okay, and 6 times 3? Next one, 3 times what gives you 21? Okay, and then 2 times 7. All right, number 8, we have adding. Okay, so we don't have to worry about borrowing, so we can put the 6 and 9 together right away. So 6 plus 9 is 15. Okay, and then to worry about these other ones. Okay, so 4 and 9. Okay. Got 36. Okay. Okay, so 9 times what gives you 36? Okay, and then 4 times 6. And then 4 times what gives you 36? And then 3 times 9. All right, so these are big numbers. We're going to have to do the carrying situation. Okay, so what is 24 plus 27? Okay. You can do it in your brain. You can write it down if you need to. Okay. So 51 over 36, okay? The problem is we can't leave it like that. So we have 15 plus, how many times does 36 go into 51? Well, 36 plus 36 is 72, so just 1 time. So then we need to find the difference or what's left over. Okay, you can do it in your brain, but if you need to write it down, it's fine. It's a test, so I'd rather you get it right than to guess. So 51 minus 36 is 15. Okay. And then put it back together. We have 15 plus 1 is 16. And 15, 36. All right, number 9. Becky combined 12 and 2/3 ounces of blue wax and 15 and 2/5 ounces of yellow wax to make a green candle. How many ounces of green wax did Becky make? Add or subtract? Hopefully you saw the word combine, so you know what's to add. Okay, so we have 12 and 2/3 plus 15 and 2/5. Okay, well, it's adding, so I don't need to worry about borrowing, so I'm just going to put those together and just get rid of them. 12 plus 15 is 27. Okay, now I'm just looking at the fractions 2/3 and 2/15. They don't have like denominators, so I need to change them. Figure out a number they both go into. Okay, hopefully you pick 15. Okay, 3 times what? Gives you 15. Okay, and 2 times 5 is 10. This one doesn't need to change. Okay, so then 10 plus 2 is 12/15. All right, number 10. A football measures 109 and 1/10 meters long and 48.5 meters wide. How many meters longer is the length? Okay, so this is a subtraction problem. So we need to make sure that we don't need to borrow before we start messing with those whole numbers. So we have 109 and 1/10 minus 48.5. So first thing we need to do is change the denominators to see if it's something we need to borrow. Okay, so we have 10 and 2. Okay. They have 10 in common, so I don't need to change the first one. Okay. And the relationship between 2 and 10 is 5. So 1 times 5 is 5. Okay, so this is what I thought. I figured it would be a borrow since we had to learn about it. Okay, can I take 1 and subtract 5? No. So we're going to borrow. So this becomes 108. And then remember, the denominator tells us how many is going to be in our new fraction. So we have 108. Okay, and then plus 10. So 1 plus 10 is 11. So we have 11/10 minus 48 and 5/10. Okay, so 108 minus 48 would be 60. Okay, and then 11 minus 5 is 6. Okay. If you want to put labels on this, they are word problems. Okay, number 11. Kana swims 5/8 of a mile last week and 4/5 of a mile this week. Estimate the total number she swam. The word "and" tells me this is an addition problem. So 5/8 plus 4/5. Okay, come up with a number they both go into. Okay, hopefully you pick 40. Okay, 8 times what gives you 40? And 5 times 5. Okay, 5 times what gives you 40? And 4 times 8. Okay. Then we put it together. So 20 plus 30 is 50. 55, 57 over 40. Okay, if you got here, great job, but we do have to change it to a whole number answer. 5 times 5 is 25. 4 times 8 is 32. Okay, and then 25 plus 32 is 57. So then how many times is 40 going to 57? Once. So 57 minus 40 would be 17 over 40. Oh my gosh, don't hate me. I just noticed this thing. I looked at the answer key. Sorry. This says estimate. We didn't have to do the problem. We just had to benchmark it. Okay. 5/8 rounds to a half. 4/5 rounds to 1. 1 1/2. Look at, yay, we benchmarked it. Okay, on the test, please pay attention to that. Sorry. I was like, why is my answer so wrong? But it's an estimate problem. Were there any other estimate problems? I don't think so. Okay, 12. Jesse is 4.5 feet tall. Roberto is 6 1/3 feet tall. Which equation can be used to find how many feet taller Roberto is than Jesse? So this is a subtraction problem. So we have 6 1/3 minus 4 1/2. So because it's subtraction, we need to check for borrowing. So we need to change them to like denominators first. Okay. 3 and 2, hopefully you know at this point, just have 6 in common. 3 times 2 gives me 6. So 1 times 2 is 2. And 2 times 3 is 6. So 1 times 3 is 3. Okay, so we do have to borrow. Okay, or you could change them into improper fractions. I'm just going to borrow because these numbers are pretty small, so it's not too terrible. So this 6 is going to become a 5. And then I just add the denominator to the numerator to get my new numerator. So 2 plus 6 is 8. Okay. So now I just have 5 minus 4, which is 1, and 8 minus 3, which is 5. All right, last one. We're almost there. Okay, Omar went to the zoo on Saturday. He spent 2/3 hour in the monkey house, 1 and 5/6 hours watching animal shows, and 1 and 1/4 hours walking around to see the animals. Write an equation to estimate about how many hours he spent. Okay, so 2/3. Okay, it's going to benchmark 2 1/2. 1 and 5/6 at 5/6. Okay, hopefully no benchmarks to 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. And 1 and 1/4. That 1/4 is going to benchmark to 0. So 1 plus 0 is 1. So our estimate, 1/2 plus 2 plus 1 is about 3 1/2. All right, and now for the fun part, let's actually do the problem. So we have 2/3 plus 1 and 5/6 plus 1 and 1/4. Okay, so we're looking at 6, 4, and 3 for a common denominator. Actually got lucky because it's actually a fairly small number. Hopefully you got that it was 12. Okay, so 3 times what gives you 12? Okay. So 2 times 4 is 8. 6 times 2 gives me 12. 5 times 2 is 10. And 4 times 3 gives us 12. And 1 times 3 is 3. Okay, so I have, looking at the numbers, I know I'm going to have to regroup and rename, and that's fine. Let's take care of the whole numbers first. 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay, then we have 8 plus 10, which is 18, plus 3 is 21. Okay, so bring over the 2. Okay, how many times does 12 go into 21? Okay, 12 plus 12 is 24, so it's just 1 time. Okay, and then how many would be left over? So 21 minus 12, or you can count up, which would be 9. Okay, we put the remainder on top of the denominator, and then we put it all back together. 3 and 9/12. Okay, so what I want you to do right now is look at the paper, now that it's done, okay, on both sides, okay? Look over it. What parts don't you understand? Okay, and then, so tomorrow, or on Monday before we start the test, I will ask what questions do we need to go over, and you're going to say number whatever it is that didn't make sense to you. Okay? Have a good weekend. Test on Monday.